Hello, everyone. Tonight, we drift into the heart of London, where beneath the fog and glittering lights flows a river older than the city itself, the River Thames, a dark, patient serpent that has watched empires rise and crumble, kings beheaded, and lovers thrown into its cold embrace. The Thames is more than water. It is memory, curse, and hunger. Beneath its surface, time itself seems to pause. Those who have walked its banks at midnight say the river has a pulse, a slow heartbeat, as if something enormous sleeps deep below, dreaming of the dead it has devoured. Long before London was a city of glass towers and bridges, the ancient Britons called it Temesas, the Dark Mother. They believed spirits lived within its current, feeding on sorrow, whispering through the mist. As centuries passed, the river became a mirror of London's soul, beautiful on the surface, but filled with ghosts underneath. In the 1600s, when the Great Plague swept through the city, corpses piled faster than the grave diggers could bury them. The carts overflowed, and so the dead were cast into the Thames. People living by the docks spoke of nights when the river glowed faintly blue and the air smelled of roses and rot. Fishermen claimed their nets caught things that were not fish, hands, strands of hair, or sometimes pale faces that melted into bubbles when pulled above water. They said the river was full of whispers, chanting in the same rhythm as the tolling bells of St. Paul's. Even now, when divers explore beneath London Bridge, they hear muffled cries and the faint sound of tolling as if time itself still mourns. One of the oldest stories is of the Lady in Grey. She was once a noblewoman, abandoned by her lover who drowned himself in the Thames when his secret sins were exposed. Stricken with grief, she threw herself into the same waters, clutching his last letter. Her body was never found. But centuries later, near Westminster Pier, people began seeing her. A pale woman in drenched Victorian clothing, her hair tangled with weeds, her eyes hollow yet burning with sorrow. She drifts along the bank, whispering the name Edward. Boatmen say that if you hear her voice and answer her call, she will look directly at you, her mouth stretching wider than humanly possible, and water will pour out until you drown where you stand. Police records mention mysterious drownings where victims' hands were found stained with traces of old ink, as if they had touched her cursed letter. Then there's the Singing Ferryman, a tale from the upper reaches near Richmond. On blood-red moon nights, a small wooden boat appears, drifting without oars. A hooded figure sits at the stern, softly humming a tune older than the city. Locals say if you listen closely, the melody changes. It becomes your name, sung slowly across the water. Those who follow the sound are never seen again. Days later, their bodies float downstream, faces serene, mouths frozen in mid-song. The ferryman's boat always vanishes before sunrise. Some say he was once a boatman who ferried plague victims across the river until he succumbed himself, cursed forever to collect the souls of the curious. Another chilling legend speaks of Execution Dock in Wapping. Centuries ago, pirates were hanged there for their crimes, their bodies left suspended until 3 tides had washed over them, a ritual meant to cleanse their sins. But some believe the river did not forgive. Sailors claim that on foggy nights, a ghostly galleon made of rotting wood appears against the current, crewed by skeletal figures with eyes glowing blue. They say this phantom ship drifts silently past the old dock, carrying the spirits of the condemned. Those who see it up close report hearing the creak of ropes and the faint cry of "God have mercy" echoing through the mist. Many who have witnessed it die within a year, always near water. Farther east, where the water grows darker and thicker, lies a bend known as Blackwater Reach. During World War II, engineers working near that area reported strange lights under the surface, like a heartbeat of gold pulsing deep below. Thinking it a downed plane, divers went down. Only 2 returned. One was catatonic. The other screamed until his lungs collapsed. Before he died, he whispered one phrase, "It's alive." Since then, no diver has dared descend there again. Locals say that once every decade, when the moon aligns with the cathedral spires, the water begins to churn though there's no wind, and whispers echo like 1,000 voices chanting from below. Some say it's an ancient thing, older than London, trapped beneath the mud, a guardian, or perhaps a prisoner of something worse. The Thames has also been home to the lost souls of the Blitz. In 1940, when bombs fell across London, many sought refuge near the river's tunnels. Survivors spoke of screams echoing through the underground passages, followed by silence, and then the sound of rushing water. Entire families disappeared. Later, rescuers found the tunnels dry, but covered in wet footprints leading into the river. Even today, maintenance workers claim to hear crying when the tide is low, and sometimes see the shadows of children reflected in puddles where no one stands. And then there's the watcher in the fog. First reported in the 1970s near Tower Bridge, he's described as a tall, faceless figure made entirely of mist. CCTV footage once captured a distortion on the bridge, a shape standing still as people passed through it. Those who looked directly at the fog claimed they felt an unbearable pressure in their chest, as if their hearts were being squeezed. Some collapsed. One man vanished completely, his phone found recording the faint sound of waves and a voice whispering, "Come closer." Perhaps the most disturbing event occurred in 1997, when a small tour boat called the Night Heron vanished between Lambeth and Vauxhall. No wreckage, no distress signal. Days later, a fisherman found the vessel adrift near Greenwich. Inside, the cabin walls were covered in smeared words. "It rises when we call." The passengers, 15 of them, were never found. Only one recording remained, captured by a tourist's camcorder, the faint sound of water dripping and a deep voice humming beneath the static, the same tune sung by the ferryman centuries ago. Experts dismissed it as interference. Locals knew better. The modern Thames still claims lives. Every year, police recover dozens of bodies, suicides, accidents, or something else. But the strangest cases involve people who vanish near the water, their last messages mentioning whispers or reflections that didn't match their own. In 2011, a woman jogging near Battersea reported seeing herself standing on the opposite bank, smiling back at her before walking straight into the river. Her phone was found recording her terrified breathing and the faint words, "It's me." She was never recovered. Many scientists explain these stories as hallucinations caused by fog and magnetism, but those who live by the river know the truth. The Thames is alive. It feeds on memory. It collects pain, fear, and regret. When you stand near it at night, you feel it breathing. The old keepers of London Bridge used to toss coins into the water for protection, whispering prayers so the river wouldn't remember their faces. Modern Londoners have forgotten these rituals, but the river hasn't. Every century, it demands remembrance, a life offered so it can continue to flow in peace. Ignore it, and it takes what it wants. They say during low tide, you can still see the outlines of wooden posts where pirates were chained. Some nights, those posts drip fresh water as if something invisible still clings to them. Divers avoid that area, their equipment fails, their compasses spin, and those who stay too long begin to hear music, faint, echoing, coming from beneath, a tune no one has ever recorded because it can only be heard once, before you join the river choir. The Thames hides many things: the skeletons of kings, the wrecks of forgotten ships, the bones of thousands thrown away like secrets. Every ripple carries a whisper. Every fog hides a face. When you walk across the bridges at night, you might feel the vibration underfoot. That's not traffic. That's the heartbeat of something ancient moving beneath. Look down, and you might see lights drifting just below the surface, moving against the current. Don't follow them. They lead to the places where the living and the dead trade places. And maybe that S why London feels eternal, because it's built on top of a river that never dies. The Thames doesn't forget. It remembers every scream, every sin, every love lost to its current. So if you ever find yourself walking alone by the river after midnight, and you feel the fog growing thicker, the air colder, and a voice softly humming your name, don't look. Don't listen. Just walk away. Because if you stop, even for a second, the water will rise to meet you, and the last thing you'll see before the darkness takes you is your own reflection, smiling. The next morning, the Thames will look calm, innocent, as if nothing happened. Tourists will take photos, boats will pass, and no one will notice the faint ripples in the center where something just fed. The city will move on, unaware that beneath their feet, the river still whispers, waiting for its next story to begin. Because London may sleep, but the Thames never does. It watches, it listens, it hungers. For us all. Thank you for watching Shdows Secrit. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying stories from the shadows.